welcome or welcome back. It has been a little while. I meant to look it up. I don't remember if I have even recorded a regular episode this month. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked and not instantly seeing it. I know I should have recorded like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I probably didn't record an episode at all in July. We did do 4th of July, and then I was going to go to 4th of July at my brother's house, but things didn't work out, so we went the next weekend instead. And I know I could have filmed when we got back, or done some sort of film while we were gone, but I just didn't. I went and I enjoyed time with my brother, and then the next weekend came around and I was going to film, and again, I didn't. So here we are. We are back technically the week I should have. I just ended up taking one time off. But here we are, and because I've been gone for a little bit, I do have a decent amount of progress on a project I'm not sure that you've even seen. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into it with the 2 finished objects I have. So the first one, you have definitely seen the project. It's just actually mostly finished. I'm only saying mostly finished because it does still need buttons. And I haven't even picked out what buttons I'm going to put on yet. But the buttons are going to be strictly decorative. So this is my Jethro cardigan using primarily scrap yarn. So the gray for the sleeves and everything, I had 2 skeins of this in my stash. It is all fingering weight held double, so I did end up needing to get 2 more because I thought I read that I would be fine with just the 2. I was not. I might have been fine with just the 2 for the joining or just for the sleeves, but to do both, I did need more. I do still have a decent amount of leftover. I technically would have needed like 3.5. The pattern does recommend sizing up. I did not, and I'm both happy and not happy I did. So when I wear it, it is... Sorry, the way my camera is, I'm not sure you're going to be able to get a very good view on this. It is definitely very fitted. So when I put the buttons on, they're going to just be decorative. Like, I will probably never wear it this tight like this. So I think I could have sized up at least one. When you see the pictures of the Jethro cardigan, it is definitely like much more oversized. But I looked at that and I was like, I don't... the recommendation I saw was to like make it oversized because of the way it fits on the neck. But I actually used a workaround I learned in a knitting group where people were just talking about making them. And I just jumped right on that when they said it. And instead, I kind of did, since you're not doing any short row shaping or anything, since these are granny squares, I did an extra row of the join up at the neck, so it comes up a little higher in the back. And it's just all the way across the top, an extra row that I did not do in the front, and that seemed to help. But I think if I had sized up just one more, it would have just a little more oversized, but I didn't want it super oversized. I didn't want it to be something where if I move, it's like big billowing sleeves, and I wanted it to be something that I could wear like at work, so it was fitted enough I didn't feel like it got in the way. And I think it will work for that. It's just, if it was one size more, it would be like one size bigger, it would be just enough bigger that I would have been able to have buttons that were not just decorative. But I still am happy with it. It's way too hot here to wear it right now, but I am planning on enjoying it when the weather turns. The other finished object, again, you have definitely seen. I just finished them, I want to say, very shortly after the last time I filmed. I still have not even blocked these. It's just been a thing. So I don't think I have. No, it definitely does not smell like blocking soap. That was probably weird. But these are a pair of socks. I kind of just referred to them as my flower socks because they have this pale green and this bright purple. And when I picked these out together, it just made me think of spring flowers. I was working on these technically slowly over a couple months. I have not been super into making socks lately, which is probably part of why they took so long. Huh. Okay, I thought my toes were significantly different sizes. They do look a little bit differently sized. Interesting. I don't know what I did there. I'm going to have to count rows. Anyways, so I did simple stripes at the top with a 1x1 rib, a slip stitch heel, and then I did a rounded toe, but looking at that, it looks like I might have done a couple extra rounds on one and then done the rounded toe, because it definitely looks like a round or two bigger. We'll see if it's something that's going to be a fit issue or not. So yeah, these are just some simple socks. Every other part of it was just vanilla sock. I am getting easily distracted now that I've noticed the toes are different sizes. So those are the only finished objects I have. I currently have 3 works in progress I'm looking at, and some, I don't know, I always feel like it's hard to determine what level of a work in progress it is when I'm talking spinning, but I have done some spinning. So I'm going to go ahead and grab those works in progress, and we will get into that. Okay, so I kind of lied. I didn't grab my works in progress. What I actually just grabbed was my spinning cart. I don't know if it's in frame right now because I brought it over here, sat down, and then pulled a little closer. But my spinning cart has, let me see if I can bring it closer, because I have my camera at a different angle, so I don't know if you can see it at all right now. But I've got my spinning wheel and then various things on here, including the yarn that I've been working on. So I did finish another spool. This is by Yarn Jam. It was the color Winter Glimmer. It was a Love and Stitches membership colorway. I had completed one spool previously, and I finished the second spool. And what I had was one that was plain Shiniko. Do I have? Doesn't look like I have a label. I believe it was Shiniko, and then one that had tweed in it. And I held the two of them together and let the colors kind of blend so that it had the little tweedy bits through all of it. I am going to also do, this is from Paradise Fiber, Paradise Fibers. It is a merino, and it is the color Hawk Moth. Might be a little hard to see in the plastic bag, but I do also have right here where it's all prepped to start spinning, and I am going to spin this and then ply the two together with the hopes that it will give me enough to complete a wearable of some sort. I have heard that if you are doing a sweater or something, you want to be making way more than you should, and in my limited experience trying to do wearables with hand spun, I would definitely agree. So I think once I see kind of how much I have, it should be about 4 spools. Each of those I will have 8 ounces of each yarn, so that'll be 16 ounces. If I can't at least get like a shrug or a vest or something out of that, I'm going to be super disappointed, because I don't know how much I have to spend to get a full wearable if we're spending like way more than I would of a commercial yarn. Like it seems like it should be comparable, but in my experience, it's not. So I did get that one done. And then the other thing that I have been working on, I did not finish this yet, but I have been working on kind of like scrappy scrappy spins. So I just have a whole bunch of wool that I used to do the Paradise Fibers Fiber of the Month Club, and then somewhere along the way I stopped. I don't even 100% remember why, but I have so many bits of yarn, of like fiber, that are not enough to spin up for a full project, just enough to spin up for a little bit, and if you like it, you're supposed to order more. But I fell behind. You can't always get all the colors later. And so I have a whole bunch where I have spun it into like singles, like a single skein, and I can't do anything with it. And so I kind of stopped doing that because I didn't want all of this wool to keep building up into things I can't do anything with. And so I decided to try to do like a scrappy project with it, where I would just pull a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this and make these spools that were kind of chaotic. And so I had, this one has like oranges and greens and blues and whites and gray. And then I did one that's a lot of like purple and blue. And I was looking at them and going, I don't know if this is going to apply together into anything I'm going to like or be wearable. But the goal was to do enough of these to, again, make something wearable. And if I'm using all these little bits of scraps, then it can be a nice long term. It'll be lots of chaotic color, but it'll end up being enough because I'm combining all of these things that are not enough. And then I was looking at these and I was just like, I don't know. Second guessing myself. After I finished the Winter Glimmer, I started spinning, like plying it together. And I don't think you're getting its best view there. But I think it's going to work. So that made me feel a lot better. I was just working on plying those two together. I know somebody's probably looking, going, why are they caked up? This is probably very wrong to some people. But that tends to be what I do to ply them together, is I cake them up and pull from the centers of the cakes. I don't always have enough spools, and it also helps because then I can ply something on itself by going from inside and outside of the cake. Again, this is probably something that people who have been spinning or were taught to spin appropriately would tell you is wrong. I, like everything else, just kind of taught myself. So I don't know. It's probably wrong. It's still what I've been doing for a long time, and I'm probably going to keep doing it. So that is the spinning. Let me actually now grab the works in progress that are knitted projects so that I can show those as well. I am hoping to finish this spool soon and get started on the next one, but we'll kind of see where we end up. All right, so of my works in progress over here, my non-spinning works in progress, I have two that are knitted, one that is Tunisian crochet, and only one of them you've seen. So let me dig that one out because it does happen to be at the bottom. This is my Calico Quilt Shawl. I have been slowly working on it using the 2025 Advent Calendar from Chelsea Yarn. This one was a London holiday themed. So I have been slowly working through. I am on row 2 of 5 rows. It's going to triangle down. So last time I showed it, it looks like I was on this color here, barely started. So I finished one color, did another triangle, and I am now on the last triangle of this row, which I love this color. It is so gorgeous. And then I have just finished winding up the rest of the mini skeins last night. 8 more in here. Technically, I need 9. The shawl requires that you use 25, which is perfect for a 25-day Advent. I had a 24-day Advent, but I still really wanted it in this. I don't know what color I'm going to grab from my scraps to add as the final color. I have been putting off making that decision just because I kind of want to see the whole thing laid out. I did that with the colors when I selected where they would go, but then I mean, like, that the way that they work up is different than how they are like this, you know, or in a little mini skein before it has been wound up. So I'm trying to be kind of like, okay, let me actually get these all out. There's a whole bunch of like green and blue at the bottom, but the rest of the colors that I have in here are mostly like pinks. So I may be going for something pink to kind of go with the shades at the top. Maybe I'll go and be like, throwback, and do like a blue or a green or a gray or something at the top. I'm leaning towards the pinks just because, you know, there's going to be a lot of pinks in here and it's going to finish with a lot of pinks, but we'll see. I'm really liking it. Based on how it is now, this is going to be so big and cozy. It does talk, like, it's bigger than the size and the pattern says, but it does say, like, you can stop here or you can keep going this long to make it bigger. Obviously, I kept going, and I am so glad I did, because I think if I had done it the size that it said, it would be more of like scarf shawl, whereas I wanted like big wrap around my shoulders when I'm sitting down watching a show or reading, or like literally anything where I don't need to be moving much. I wanted it to have that almost blanket-like feel. So not a lot done on it. I feel like it's been a very slow project, partially just because it's a big project, so it's going to be a slow project. But I think I just haven't been working as fast on it as I thought I would. We'll kind of see how everything keeps going. Life stuff has made some of my projects slower still, but as I finish my other big project, I might just try to hyper-focus on this one as my only big project before I allow myself to start another one. I do sometimes do that when I am feeling overwhelmed by how many big projects I have, and that might just be what I need to do for this one. Before I get into the other big project, though, I will show my other little one. This is a Tunisian crochet. I took a class through the Love and Stitches membership for Tunisian crochet in the round, and messed it up the first time and had to pull it out and start it again. And I probably would not have kept going at that point if not for the fact that the pattern was for a e-reader cozy. I don't have an e-reader, and it didn't even occur to me at the time I could have made like a really big one for my laptop, or a bigger one for my iPad, or even a tiny one for my phone. It was like, well, it's an e-reader cozy. I don't have an e-reader, but I really want to learn the skill, but my daughter has one. So I got the measurements for hers. I've tried this on hers, and it fits. And so because I was going to, I'd asked her about it and was going to make it for her, was like, see, you can't give up. You have to finish it. But I have not made a lot of progress on it. So it is 2 colors, and it's kind of hard to see, but it is Tunisian knit stitch, which is part of how I messed it up the first time, because I was definitely doing the knit stitch wrong. But I do have Tony Lipsy's Tunisian crochet book, and I looked at the pictures of what I was doing and figured out how to do it correctly. Pictures in that are amazing. I do really want to pick another project from there to do, but again, that's one of those where I always have the stuff that I want to do. I really need to focus up sometimes. So I'm not very far on it. It's really interesting because you can see like it's 2 colors, and you can barely see either of them from the other side, even though they have high contrast. And yeah, it's not very far, but I'm making progress, and I'm learning how to do Tunisian crochet in the round, which from what she said is actually very much easier on a bigger project. But I do think it would be fun because it makes this very, very thick fabric. So it might be fun to do something like that for like a sweater or something, but we'll see. I may never actually end up making a Tunisian crochet wearable, but I mean, life can be very long. I've got plenty of time. So it's not very far, but there is the Tunisian crochet cozy. So the last work in progress I have is, again, one that you have probably never seen. Oh, this was just using scrap yarn. I believe the dark, like the teal, is Cascade Heritage. I have no idea who the other one is. It might be So Happy Jane, but I don't remember what project I used it in, so it's very, very pretty. I just don't remember what project it came from, so it's harder for me to place it. If I could remember what I used the first part of it for, I'd remember who it was, but I don't remember where that went into. So the last one I have, this is using Little Wolf Knits yarn. I believe the color is Lone Wolf. It is, in fact, Lone Wolf. And for a project you have not seen at all, it's going to look pretty far. So this is her Bay Day Tee. And I'm pretty far. So I started it around the beginning of July. End of June, beginning of July, because I believe the plan in my brain was to take it to my brother's house on 4th of July weekend before our plans changed. And then our plans changed, and I still took it to my brother's house because that's just what we do. When we get together, like me and my siblings, we do spend a lot of time just sitting around talking. And so that does make it nice because they don't care if while I'm sitting around talking, my hands are also working on a project because they know me. They know I'm going to just sit there and fidget that way. And so, yeah, I know I was trying to get it to where it would be in the round before I went to my brother's house. So I don't remember. I don't think I actually made it, or maybe I made it before I went to my brother's house. But I've been working on the body. I want to say I projected that I'd need about 120 rounds under the arm, and I think I'm at like 117, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So yeah, I'm at about 117. I may make it a little bit longer. I am very close to being out of this yarn. With the Bayday Tee, which is also by Brianna Lupino of the Little Wolf Knit. So her yarn, her pattern. The finishing is like, it's not really like sleeves. It's more of like a sleeveless tee kind of thing. It's not quite low enough to be tank top, but you're not adding a whole bunch on the sleeves, which is good because I'm very, very low. I did not do ribbing anywhere else like I normally would early on because I wanted to make sure I had enough for the length. And I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to have enough for the ribbing everywhere it needs to be once I get it to the length I want it to be. So I might just use like some scrap yarn. I was even thinking of the scrap gray from the Jethro and just using that for the ribbing just to make sure I don't have to like skimp on the length. Because anytime I skimp on the length, I end up just not really wearing that project at all. And I love the blues in this. I love the colors. I think it's very nice. I like how flowy this should be. I don't want it to be something I don't wear. And if it's just a little bit too short, that's what's going to happen. So, currently looking at maybe contrast on that ribbing, but very close to done. Hoping to finish it within the next week or so. We'll see. If I do finish it within the next week or so, I may actually have to start like a sock project or something, but we'll see. I don't really have a good portable project. I did get a good like 20 or 30 rounds on this yesterday. We went to, I think it was maybe 15 rounds. We went to see Hadestown theatrical release. So good. If it has coming to your area and you have the chance to see it, you should see it. It was so good. The only issue I had during that was that I accidentally knitted my stitch marker into my work. I probably should have left it to kind of show, but I just took it out. So it was one that, here it is. It did not have a clasp. So the one that I have on as my beginning of round marker now has a clasp. And this is why. So here it is. If something happened, I could just open it. The one that I had before was, it looks like it's open now, but it was just this little wire and a bead, and I somehow had it so it was looped around a stitch. So I had to cut the wire. This isn't one that I'm like super sentimental about. I don't remember exactly where it came from. It's just more of like well, that was a bummer. So I'm probably going to cut everything so that the bead comes off and see if I can reuse the bead for something. But yeah, that was an unexpected twist and a good reminder why ones like that are not always good for beginning of round if you're somewhere where you're not going to be potentially paying attention. Okay, so I just heard a click from my computer telling me that it cut me off at some point there, but I was getting ready to lead into life, so we'll just go ahead and dive right in. So, life. I know I was saying when I got cut off, I don't know how much of it was in there, was that I would need to have some sort of a small project coming up that was a little more portable, and that my Tunisian crochet doesn't count because I have to look at it in order to work on it. So it doesn't work in the same way as like going to a movie or something. So in the last month, as I mentioned, we had 4th of July. I went to my brother's house and I had a week where I could have filmed, but I didn't. I actually even started to film like a vlog and then stopped. I just kind of stopped partway through. We are still dealing with repair issues, And I think that's kind of why I was just not getting stuff done. It's, quite bluntly, our house is a mess. We still have holes in our wall. We still have a bathroom out of commission. My oldest child still has a massive hole in her ceiling, so she can't really exist in that room. If you're new here, we had a massive leak. I say a massive leak. The drying and all of that didn't take very long, but we have been stuck for 2 months waiting while insurance argues about what they're going to pay for in repair. So our shower leaked. There was a failure of a wax seal around the toilet, and it was getting into everything, leaked through the ceiling into my oldest child's room, who's downstairs from an upstairs bathroom. They came in, they dried everything out, they had to cut into the walls to do it, moved the toilet into my craft room, and getting everything dried up took about a week. So easy peasy, no big deal. But here we still are. How many months later? It's getting close to 2.5, waiting for the repairs. Insurance paid for the drying. Then they started going back and forth about the cost of the repairs. And we're stuck in the middle with our house still a mess. And there's just that part of me where it's like, I get that a company doesn't want to do the work if they're not guaranteed to get paid. But also, like, can't we get the work done and then you guys argue about it afterwards? And, I mean, obviously yes and no. So it's been, quite bluntly, depressing. It's overwhelming. I don't do well. Like, I'm okay in chaos, but it's got to be organized chaos, and this has not been organized chaos for like 2 months. So I've been in like this cycle of, this is exhausting, this is disgusting, this is overwhelming, go insane, frazzled, and try to do with whatever I can cleaning, which is usually not much, and then comes down a little bit. I had a little bit of that earlier today where I was like rage vacuuming to get whatever I could clean in this house, because there's still stuff. It's hard to have your house properly in order when you have a toilet sitting in the middle of a room. Like, it's a lot. So when I was starting to film a vlog, it was just, I was overwhelmed enough that I just decided, you know what, I don't need to do this. And it was kind of why I was like, going to my brother's house, I could try to hurry up and film something when I get home, but I need that calm. And then on top of that, at work, my boss has been on maternity leave, and I've been helping to cover a lot for that. It's summer, so I don't know if it's like this in every job, but somewhere in that summer to fall section, people do like to make life changes. Like, we're no longer in school as adults, though, you know, sometimes adults are going back to school. But it is still just that time of change. People always talk about spring as time of change and renewal. In my experience, it's fall that people decide to make a change before the winter comes. So, you know, there's people who are quitting jobs, going somewhere else, making changes. And it's not that bad, but also it's additional stuff on top of my regular job. And making sure and just that extra feeling, the pressure of like making sure everything is going smoothly. Even if it's fine, and if there's certain things we don't get done, I'm well aware it's fine, but... So a lot has been happening that can be a little bit overwhelming, and I think I was just doing some neglect on other things. So it's like projects that could have probably been a lot farther than they were not. Partially because I'm too busy, or I'm working in different places, or quite bluntly, sometimes I just come home from work and it's like, I can't even pick that up and do girder stitch. Like, that just feels so hard that day. So I'm trying to be kind to myself, trying not to let myself lose things that bring me joy. I've been playing probably an excessive amount of Stardew Valley, which I only started playing a few weeks ago, but it's, you know, when you can't get your house in order because of the chaos of waiting for repairs and being stuck in insurance limbo, the fact that I could just go in and make neat little rows of plants is very soothing. The fact that I can just go and smash the crud out of some trees or some lights, put some bombs in a mine, you know, things like that. It is helping, but I also, little things like I used to always light a candle on the weekends and it would just be sitting in my bathroom, not even like the whole house, just sitting in my bathroom, and I stopped doing that because with us being down a bathroom, my kids have more stuff in here, the counter felt cluttered, so it's like, well, I can't light a candle next to all this extra stuff. I lit one anyways today. I did some brown butter this morning so I could make some snickerdoodles later, which is my absolute favorite. You know, trying to have those little things that you enjoy. But then we also do have some other stuff to look forward to. As I mentioned, hopefully I didn't get caught out. We did go to see the theatrical release of Hadestown. So good. This upcoming weekend, we are going to Banana Ball. It's not the Savannah Bananas, it's the Party Animals. But they're within the Savannah Bananas League, and it's like, okay, I'd like for the bananas to come out here too, but I'm excited to see, like, this other form of baseball. I do enjoy watching live sports, at least to a point. I don't really care who wins, but the energy at a live game is fun. We also have tickets next month to go and see the theatrical release of Six. We are doing more Broadway and Boise shows this year, and that starts rolling out in October. I'm trying really hard not to think about the fact that this year I've committed to making little chickens for every show, which is less work than socks. And if we're crocheting them, my daughter is planning on us, sharing the work there. But yeah, I'm trying to make sure that there's things that I can look forward to because this repair stuff will end. It's been going on for so long. It's one of those where it's like, it can't last much longer, right? It can't, right? And I mean, maternity leaves end, and I know there's going to be some people out there going, do they? Sometimes people decide to just stay gone. As of right now, that is not something my boss is planning on doing, so I'm not really worried about that. Last time I spoke to her, she was excited about the idea of coming back, so I'm not really worried about that. Please don't make me worry about that. But with all of that, it's one of those where it's like, I know it's just kind of a stressful a stressful summer, but the repairs will happen. The people at my work who are on maternity leave will come back from maternity leave. It's all fine. It's just some days are a little more exhausting right now while dealing with all of these things at once than they were last summer when I didn't have all these extra things. So it's fine. It's also not fine, but it's fine. And we're getting through. And clearly, I'm still making progress on projects. I have almost an entire shirt done in a month. And that's exciting. I do really want to start working on sweaters for the summer as well. But I think I'm going to try to focus in and finish this shawl as well. And then I have also thought about blankets and I have more advent calendars that I'm not saying I have to get them all done before I can start another one, but I kind of like to get going on them. Oh, and then in all of this chaos, I completely forgot that I had a fiber advent calendar from the Little Wolf Knits. I only got the 14-day for July, but it was a Barbie theme, and I was so excited about it when I ordered it. And then my house has been in chaos, and I have not opened a single one of them. I don't know when I am going to, but I am trying to save those as a fun little treat for myself to do when I get through some of this. But again, I'm not quite sure when that's going to be or exactly what I'm going to do with it. All I really know is I'll probably do a fractal spin, but I don't know when I'm going to do that. Clearly, I have a couple other things that I'm working on spinning. And spinning is not something I always do every week. I know they just had the Tour de Fleece. I did not even try to participate. I do kind of want to tell myself I'm going to spin once a week and start setting myself up for that, but I haven't yet. I'm definitely rambling. My camera will cut me off again very soon because it does stop if I talk for too long at a time. So I need to go ahead and stop before I continue babbling. I am going to get this edited and honestly probably work on trying to finish the body of this shirt. I would love to be able to show it as a finished object next time. And who knows, maybe I'll have another big project started. Maybe I'll just be focusing in on these little ones and trying to clear the projects to clear the brain. We'll see. I always get somewhere in between overwhelmed by too many projects and frustrated if I'm not finishing projects, if all my projects are big. So I kind of have to balance that. And for today, I think I'm going to work on that one project and see if I can bring that into balance. Thank you for listening to my babble. And until we talk again, have a very happy making.